Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Chair would like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lake Barrington. It is Tuesday, May 6, 2025, and it is, let's see what time it is, 7:01 p.m. I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Burke?
Here.
Trustee Hayes?
Here.
Trustee Perkins? Here. Trustee Schauer?
Here.
Trustee Schaumoser?
Here.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Here.
And President Richardson.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Short night for me, long night for everybody else up here. Agenda item 4 is the approval of the minutes from the board's meeting on April 8, 2025. Are there any edits, corrections, or questions for the clerk on the minutes? If not, Chair would like a motion to approve agenda item 4A, which is the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting dated April 8, 2025. May I have the motion, please? So moved. Trustee Schauer, thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Van Ryn, thank you both. The clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
Trustee Schaumoser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Richardson.
Yes, my girls are on FaceTime, and the older one works in Congress. So, Mary Ellen, this is something I do every meeting that will sound familiar. Chair would like unanimous consent that the record remain open for a purpose of 5 business days for any necessary technical and conforming amendments without objection. Okay. I first want to introduce my sister, Shelley Ash, and her husband, Mike, who are here. And want to thank them. They live in Crystal Lake, and I appreciate them coming out tonight. Thank you. I have some friends from high school who are on with us as well. My friends Will and Kim Fieldhouse in La Quinta, California, Jim and Jamie Galis in South Lake, Texas, and Paul Kenyon in Northern Virginia, I believe McLean, but he might be somewhere else in the area tonight with his better half, Mary. This is the last time I'll sit in this chair. I'm going to miss a job that has been tremendously fulfilling, the best job I've ever had. But I also leave knowing the time for me to do so is right. The skill sets that Lake Barrington needed for the last 20 years were fortunately mine. It was about winning political arguments and fights. The skill sets we need going forward are more than fully represented both by my successor, Mayor-elect Burke, and the other trustees, who really will understand how best to optimize the investments we've made and the efforts we've made in the last 20 years to establish Lake Barrington as an oasis of gracious countryside living. There's not a chance I'm getting through this without crying. Lower your expectations. In saying goodbye, I want to ask the board, the staff, and all of you here from the public to please indulge me, as I'd like to share a few lessons I've learned in my many years in local government, as well as extend some well-deserved and well-earned thank yous to people who have been so kind and supportive and gracious. Many of the lessons I've learned reflect my own desire to mirror the leadership style of my political icon, former late President Ronald Reagan, who was the man who actually got me interested in politics when I was in high school back in the 1970s. I've always proudly described myself as a Reagan Republican who married a blue dog Democrat, and I have been tempted to embrace a leadership style that is worthy of the Gipper's approach to leadership. That has been especially the case here in this room, where I have always felt a deep obligation to bring and to show my very best to those I serve. In private, you all know I can be something other than that. But in public, because I sit in a position of authority and set an example, especially for the children of this community, I try to earn your respect by behaving in a manner that is exemplary especially for our kids. I have certainly loved this job more than any other I've had in my long career because it has brought out my best qualities. Mr. Bateman, who's been with me from the very beginning, and I said maybe 3 times since 1999 that I've lost my temper in this room. And I'm ethnically Irish, so I take that as quite a remarkable achievement. Here are some of the leadership lessons that I've tried to employ. And this is long tonight because I have a lot of people to say thank you to. The first thing is I learned about the power of using humor to signal approachability. You know, most people who approach the well and the podium don't like speaking in public. It's a little intimidating if you haven't done it before. And there are a number of people over the years who have approached us with obvious anxiety. I have always made a special effort to make them feel welcome, typically with the use of humor. The second, and it closely relates to the first, is the value of lighthearted self-deprecation, especially in times of tension in the community. President Reagan, of course, was the unrivaled master of this skill. Reaching consensus, I've learned, requires each party to signal approachability, and nothing signals approachability better than a healthy dose of humorous self-deprecation. The twin skill, of course, is to use humor to establish commonality with people through the telling of stories and anecdotes that relate to the common experiences of most people. Hence my battalion of married life jokes for many, many years. My poor late wife had the unenviable role of being a straight man in a 38-year run of a certain comedy show where she had to be the butt of a lot of jokes about married life, and those were legendary. What I hope it showed all the people that I served is that we want you to know that we think like you, we seek to represent you, and more importantly, reflect back to you your very best as we seek to give our very best. And I think it's best often done when people feel a little lighthearted about it, especially in such ugly times as today. In tying this leadership framework to my 26 years of experience in service, I'd like to offer a little quick history. Lynn and I and our daughters moved here in late 1996. The corner of Kelsey Road and Route 22 was a 4-way stop sign, with 2 of the 4 corners being occupied by cornfields. There was an active sheep farm behind the fence line on our property in Fox River Grove, and the girls, when they were little, and I would go to the fence line and baa at the sheep. When we first arrived, Lake Barrington still had several active farms and a great sense of its agricultural and semi-rural heritage. I also remember the first time I came into this room. I remember it because the furniture is the same as it was then. When I first appeared as a new resident, I leave office tonight most happy with the thought that we've gotten our money's worth out of these chairs that you're all sitting in tonight. I did appear for the first time in 1997 in opposition to the proposed expansion of the medical office building at the corner of Kelsey and Route 22. I received a very sympathetic response from several then members of the board, including my very dear predecessor, the late Connie Schofield, as well as my equally dear mentors, Lauren DeJesu, who's with us this evening, and the late Ernie DeSalvo. I decided not long after to seek election as trustee in 1999 to help protect the beautiful bucolic nature of this unique community. Among my early supporters was my great friend and neighbor, Carl Smith, who later joined this board and served our community with great distinction, as his exceptional knowledge and skill as an outstanding real estate and corporate attorney were invaluable to the work we did in those years, especially on zoning. Another early supporter was our former Plan Commission chair, former trustee, and former village administrator, Karen Dalton Lang, whose record of service to this community has been unsurpassed. As many of you know, she is an engineer by profession, and I am an attorney and a political operative by profession, which meant our brains were wired differently. In fact, we so openly and often debated and argued policy points as a way of getting the best outcome for the village in a manner that made people think we were married to one another. I can still sleep in that little married life joke. Her neighbor, Earl Carpenter, was another early participant in my journey here, who honored this board, who this board rather just honored a few months ago for his long service on our plan commission. He was another talented resident who gave freely of his time and expertise in those years to make our village a better place in which to live. I mentioned Connie, Lauren, and Ernie because some special words must go out to them. Connie's genius was her authenticity. No games, no nonsense. You knew where you stood, just wisdom and kindness. She also often treated us to homemade cookies, and we would pass the cookie tin around the dais, as a few up here will remember, and she always greeted everyone she met with a warm smile. Ernie and I were destined to be great friends, as his son was a year behind me at Notre Dame, and his grandson was a year ahead of Mary Ellen, my older girl at Notre Dame, and I took Ernie's seat on this board when he retired in 1999, and we remained close friends until the Lord called him home. He brought a genuine thoughtfulness to his public service and was a man of tremendous integrity. Now, if you look up the word elegant in the dictionary, you will see a picture of Laura DeJason. In a time that is too often marked in these last years with ugliness and rudeness and anger, Laura's years of service to our community were a powerful legacy of treating people with dignity and respect and kindness. This was matched by her exceptional ability to think through complex issues clearly, bring people together, and make exceptionally informed decisions. She was one of my secret political assets because if I couldn't convince her, I knew I was out of step with our community. After becoming the trustee, I decided to informally change careers, and I became an executive recruiter. That means I began to recruit people to serve both in the planning commission level and in the village board around the vision of Lake Barrington being an oasis of gracious countryside living. My criteria were simple. First, access the remarkable talent that exists in our community. And second, focus on people who want to do something, not be something. This latter criterion is essential to building a high-functioning team, and it reflects the saying made popular by the late President Harry S. Truman, who said, "It's amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit." Recruiting around the vision and the values built inherently a culture of trust between colleagues that enabled us to avoid the bitter arguments that so many other community boards had because we had consensus going in, because people signed up for the same thing, for the same reasons, with the same motivations. So let me offer some additional and important thank yous as a way of paying thanks to my colleagues here on the board tonight and to our fabulous staff. I want to start with my friend here, our longtime counsel, Jim Bateman. I met him the first night I walked into this room to complain, and I've come to marvel since that day his remarkable skill in solving thorny legal problems. I'm a good enough lawyer to know that I'm not a very good lawyer, which is why I'm able to spot great lawyers. And Jim's calm, analytical, deliberate demeanor has been the perfect complement to my often emotional and animated temperament. I leave this job knowing that I've worked with one of the best municipal attorneys in the country, and I am proud to call him my friend. And I am thrilled that his equally capable and talented daughter, Becky Alexopoulos, is continuing to also serve our community with distinction. And there's not a chance I'm giving up this microphone tonight without offering my thanks to our treasurer, Peggy Hirsch, whose tremendous skill is matched by her graciousness and her integrity in so effectively serving our community. You know, you read about the scandals that some small towns have had with finances, and it's just frightening and terrifying. With Peggy at the helm, I never, and I mean never, spent a nanosecond worried about that kind of thing in Lake Barrington. Peggy and her husband Dave have been close friends of Lynn's and mine for years. As our children attended St. Anne's and Barrington High School, and their kindness to me, especially since the death of my wife, has been so gratefully appreciated by my girls and by me. Now, when the board sought to hire Karen Loudon Lang's successor as village administrator, we hired a headhunting firm. The firm had done some other work for us, and they brought in 6 good, high-quality candidates, including the impressive woman who sits to my right, Sharon Peterson. I don't know if Mayor-elect Burke will recall this, but towards the end of our interview with Sharon, I texted him, careful not to violate the Open Meetings Act, and I said to him, Andy, I think we found our person, and he texted me back with a thumbs up emoji. Sharon's professional competence has been made evident to all of us, though I feel compelled to say that her skill alone is not why her performance is so stellar. It is because she combines great skill with a thoughtful and practical approach that makes everything easier to do, and it makes her so very effective as this board's representatives in very many settings. Now, for the trustees who are here, I have to extend some well-deserved thanks for your loyalty and hard work. Let me first start on my right and talk about my friend, Trustee Rich Hayes. Rich has been a tremendous asset to this board, as his extraordinary career experience has brought immense benefit to our community. He has brought system discipline to a number of our key business processes, and he has always honored his commitments to get things done on time. I have come to know why in his prior life people called him Major General Hayes. America would not be in the mess that we are today if we had more men like Richard Hayes. I also want to thank my neighbor, my dear friend, and a bit of a kid sister, Trustee Susie Perkins, for her great service to our community. You hear the phrase a lawyer's lawyer, a doctor's doctor. She's a neighbor's neighbor who is always willing to help, whose commitment to building our village's sense of community through family-friendly events has been so incredibly successful. Susie, Lynn and I were blessed to have Dave, Lily, and you become our neighbors, and we love you very much. I appointed John Scheller to his seat on this board after I became mayor, as I had to fill the seat I vacated when I took this oath. His dedication to our community and chairing our Committee on Public Safety has been consistently evident and strong, and has assured close cooperation between the village and both the Lake County Sheriff's Office and the 2 fire protection districts that serve Lake Barrington. John, I thank you for your service in this very important area to our community. I met Trustee Therese Van Ryn through the work I do for Zebra Technologies Corporation, where she is head of global thought leadership in public relations and comms. She replaced Trustee Jim Thompson, who himself was an indefatigable volunteer in leading our communications, branding, and PR efforts for the village. The story was good because I did not know Therese lived in Lake Barrington. I knew how talented she was, and I wondered, how am I going to fill this gap that Jim Thompson's leading? And then she made a fatal mistake. She told me she lived here. That's all I needed. And the campaign to recruit Therese onto this board was off and running, and ultimately we wore her down as I did the rest of you. Therese has brought an incredibly experienced visionary approach to taking us to the next level in branding and reputation management, commensurate with what she does for one of the most important tech companies in the world. Therese, you have done this with great skill and aplomb, and I thank you for your service to our community. I met Trustee Peter Schallmoser through his many volunteer efforts for our community years ago. When he was first sworn in as a village ethics commissioner, he was joined by his lovely wife, Mary, and their handsome, wonderful young son, Leo, who was about the time 4 years old. In closing the meeting that night, I invited young Leo up to sit with me here to give him this gavel to gavel the meeting adjourned. His enthusiasm for that task was caught on film by a number of people, and all it made clear to me was that public service in the Schallmoser family family spans generations. Peter, you're a man of immense character at a time when we need character and integrity in government, and I applaud you and your service to our village. I also want to thank Rebecca Barrington and Allie Cruz. Rebecca joined us more recently, and we were all thrilled when you decided to take the position. And we appreciate the great energy and commitment that you bring to the job every day. I'm especially grateful to Allie. Mi hermana latina. Me gusta practicar el español con la mujer. She has been very patient with my terrible conjugation of the Spanish language and has often tried to translate for me. I am extremely grateful because this is an important job to record accurately our proceedings, and it doesn't get the recognition it typically deserves. And I want to make sure I say thank you to you as well. Finally, I want to thank my successor, Andy Burke, for his many years of leadership and for his taking on the new role as mayor in our community. I met him exactly 20 years ago tonight, when I was sworn in as mayor for the first time. Not surprisingly, he came to the meeting to complain about an issue I knew nothing about because one of Sharon's predecessors had not briefed me on it. I got even with him. I recruited him onto the Plan Commission, and I said, or the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I said, Andy, this will take 20 minutes a month. Gotcha. As I mentioned earlier, the reason why I am so comfortable, everybody, how many people in the room have children? This is not a trick question. You know, when your kids are born, you have to amend your will because if something happens to both parents, you have to decide who's going to get custody of your children. Lake Barrington is really my third child. And so when I began to contemplate retirement, I thought, Lynn and I did this when the girls were little, as you all did with your children. Who is going to love your child as much as you do? Who's going to worry about your kids as much as you do? Nurture them, encourage them, hold them accountable, teach them right from wrong. That standard of who I wanted to try to recruit to follow me is how I applied that. Who would I leave this beautiful community to? And the obvious answer was so patently clear that it never caused me to think or hesitate for a moment. We are very, very blessed to have a man of his extraordinary caliber as our next mayor. You know, I've worked for a lot of big companies over a 40-year career, and I've seen a lot of talented C-suite leadership. Andy ranks at the top of the list in terms of his talent, his intellect, his work ethic, his thoughtfulness, and his ability to inspire. We inherited a Class D business park at Pepper Road in 14 in 2005, and it was because of Andy's leadership and work that we've been able to dramatically elevate the park's status and expand its financial contribution to the community so that we could freeze the residential property tax levy many, many, many times in a row. He's a CEO's CEO, and he's become a brother to me in so many ways. As Dorothy said to the Scarecrow at the end of The Wizard of Oz, I think I'll miss you the most. Finally, to my longtime campaign manager and friend of 35 years, Jim Thacker. Jim has run every campaign of mine, and he's run the campaigns of every trustee candidate I've supported since 1999. He's had an astounding record of success, not only here, but across Northern Illinois. I first met him when he was serving as chief of staff to then U.S. Representative Don Manzullo of Illinois, and I was still living in Washington. Jim's remarkable patience and calm were the much-needed time for my all-too-often hyper-caffeinated personality. So let me close before my emotion gets the better of me. And it brings me back to talking about my icon, President Reagan. I lived in Washington in those years and got to go to the White House a lot. Before I had the good fortune to meet Lynn, I dated a woman who worked in the speechwriting department at the White House, so got to go over there a lot. And of course, the giver was one of a kind. He told the story very often, and I got to hear it a couple of times, and it's on YouTube, about when he and First Lady Lady Nancy Reagan visited his ancestral home in Ireland. Toward the end of the trip, the President, the First Lady visited an old Irish cathedral and cemetery not far from where the President's ancestors had lived. He noticed that the young Irish guide who was showing them around finally took them around back to show them the cemetery behind the cathedral. And as they walked, the giver noticed with great interest the many ancient tombstones and their inscriptions. And then they came to one, and the inscription said, "Remember me as you pass by, for as you are, so once was I. But as I am, you too will be, so be content to follow me." And the President said that the inscription had obviously been too much for someone of Irish humor to walk by subsequently, because he read an inscription that had been scribbled underneath. "To follow you, I am content. I wish I knew which way you went." On behalf of my beloved wife, Lynn, my two extraordinarily talented and beautiful daughters, Mary Ellen and Charlotte, my wonderful future son-in-law, John, and me, I want to thank you all for the honor of a lifetime. May God bless all of you. May God continue to bless the United States of America and the village of Lake Barrington. Thank you, and Judge will now proceed to swear again.
That's a tough one to follow, right? All right. Incoming village president, Andrew Berg first, correct? First.
We need to have this on there. Yes.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Andrew Burke,
Have been elected to the office of village president of the village of Lake Barrington in the county of Lake aforesaid.
have been elected to the office of village president in the village of Lake Barrington in the county of Lake aforesaid.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village president according to the best of my ability.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village president according to the best of my abilities.
Very nice. Richard Hayes.
Hi. Listening to this.
Up front.
Richard Howard.
Yeah, I'll go slow.
Yes.
I state your name.
I, Richard Hayes,
Have been elected to the office of village trustee
have been elected to the office of village trustee
in the village of Lake Barrington
in the village of Lake Barrington
in the county of Lake aforesaid.
in the county of Lake aforesaid.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the village trustee according to the
Yeah,
best of my ability.
Kevin gave his
of
speech.
the office of the village
And
trustee.
now they're going through the
Congratulations.
signing in of the next.
Matthew over.
And we have Susie Perkins. I state your name.
I, Susie Perkins,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee
have been elected to the office of village trustee
in the village of Lake Barrington,
in the village of Lake Barrington,
in the county of Lake Emerson,
county of Lake, Aforesaid,
and do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the state of Illinois,
of the United States and the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of village trustee
of the office of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Very nice. Congratulations. Teresa Van Ryan. Joey, nice to see you. I state your name.
I, Therese Van Ryn,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee
having been elected to the office of village trustee
in the village of Lake Barrington,
in the village of Lake Barrington,
in the county of Lake Emerson,
in the county of Lake Aforesaid,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of village trustee
the duties of the office of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Very nice. Congratulations. I want to thank everybody, especially the maidens, for who I've known Jessica for at least 13 years, right? So at least 13 years, and Jim for my whole legal career. So thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. Everybody have a great day.
I got 4 of them. Which one? Al. The donor.
I did 2 of them.
Thank you, Judge Selby. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you again. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
So now that we have a new board seated, I need to ask the clerk to recall the roll, please.
Trustee Hayes.
Wow, first. Here.
Trustee Perkins. Here. Trustee Schauber.
Here.
Trustee Schauber.
Here.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Here.
And President Burke.
Here. Thank you very much. And you passed the first test. Well, tonight is certainly a bittersweet night. Saying goodbye to a treasured person here for the village of Lake Barrington for so many years. And then ascending to his place, the seat is still warm from him being here. But it really is a great pleasure for me to be here, to be seated as the new president of the village of Lake Barrington. I have good news for everybody. Half of what Kevin said was in my acceptance speech. So I'm just going to skip most of that and get to the heart of it. But I was, of course, going to tell the same story about how I ended up here, because it is very ironic to have been arriving in this place and to realize that I didn't actually realize, Kevin, until tonight that your experience was the same as mind that you had come to the board on an issue, and at that point, that was your first exposure to this. And then in a full circle moment, I came to the board, and yes, it was a bit of a complaint, but more of expressing a concern about something that was happening in the village. But the part that he didn't say is that he was a tremendous listener. I mean, his seat was still cold from him sitting down and taking the president. And as it goes in these meeting agendas, the very next thing is the opportunity for the public to address the board. So that was me. So I'm the first face he saw as he was sitting up in the stairs. So I'm just imagining you being out there coming to talk to me.
I came to complain now.
Yeah, oh jeez. You have to wait for the public's opportunity to speak. But it was certainly, it's remarkable to think that we came to the seat the same way. But I think the most important part about that story that Kevin tells is that he had his own unique way of recruiting and his own unique way of once that he saw that, and he sees this in the public, the passion that they have for someone to show up at a meeting and care enough to say something that they think could improve the village, was that you had a real eye for people that you thought could make great public servants. And you've been very right by that so far. So, since I was elected to be village president, a lot of people, Kevin, have asked me, what am I going to change? What am I going to do different? How are we going to change the vision for this place? And it's been really quite simple. The answer is we're really not. We're going to steer the course. And the reason we're going to steer the course is because the vision that you helped us create all those years ago, and that this board and this staff has been dutifully and expertly executing against, is the right one. And we keep proving that it's the right one. And indeed, in our vision, in your vision of creating an oasis in gracious countryside living, we're achieving that, particularly at a time when so many municipalities, particularly in the really quickly changing environments around here, are struggling, not only for their survival, but struggling for their identity. They've kind of forgotten, they don't quite know who they are, and Lake Barrington knows very well who it is, and what it is, and what we mean to the people who live here. And it's no doubt that it's imperative and a mandate from my perspective to continue the great work that you had the foresight and leadership in this board and this staff to continue to work towards. And that's my simple platform. I never had to give a platform speech because I ran unopposed, and so did my colleagues here. But you know what? That tells you a lot about something, and that something is that I think the residents of Lake Barrington, that was an endorsement of the work that had been done in the place that we were. If they felt differently, I think we would have seen some competition for these seats. But the message to the board is keep doing what you're doing, just do it better, do it harder, do it faster, but keep doing it. And that's everything that we intend to do. So, I'm also thrilled my first order of business, not only in recognition of you, Kevin, but also congratulating trustees Hayes and Perkins and Ryan for their re-election to the board. Again, the board's, this is proof that the residents place great trust in you and believe that you're the right people to continue to do this job. And I want to thank you for your continued service, and I want to thank the rest of you up here for your continued service. And it's a daunting task to be in this seat now, but it's made much less daunting knowing a couple of things, knowing that we have this board to support me, knowing that we have this staff to support me, and that just makes this so much more comfortable for me, and so much easier to take this role on with this kind of support. I want to thank a few people also. I want to thank the staff. I want to thank the board, Judge Salvi for being here, who is left. I want to thank my wife, Chris, who's in the second row, looking very patriotic. I want to thank my daughters, which one's on TV over there. Hi, Molly. She's watching on FaceTime. Oh, and that's my granddaughter, May. For the, oh, you better.
You're asleep already.
here because of you. I've just figured out that you're my Ronald Reagan. Right, he inspired you, you inspired me. When I joined the board 18 years ago through your very cunning and clever recruiting tactics, basically telling you how smart you are and how great you are and how people can, this board could use your talent. It's like, you see it coming, but you still walk right into it. And I know I had the same experience that everybody sitting up here has had the same one now. But I never imagined I'd be sitting here and still serving and actually sitting in your seat. So thank you for helping to make that possible. Thank you for supporting and endorsing me and asking me to succeed you. It's really a privilege and a pleasure for me to be able to do that tonight and to do that and continue the fine work. There are a few people I've met in this business that have more passion for what you do and dedication than what you do. But that's also, combined with real skill. And I always used to say to people, for the political operative that you are, for our little village of Lake Barrington, you were like a sledgehammer when all we needed was a little tap hammer to put the nail up. But you were the sledgehammer for every issue that we ever came on, and boy, were we lucky to have you do that. I guess in closing, I would say to you, I recognize sitting here I have some really big shoes to fill based upon all that you've accomplished, but I know it's going to be easier because of your tutelage and your support of me over the years. I've had the very best teacher that I could possibly have, so thank you for that. I just really want to close by saying, as much as I appreciate your tutelage and your support and working side by side with you for 18 years, more than that, I appreciate the friendship that you and I have developed. Most people recognize what that's been, so we're blessed that we not only got to work together side by side, but really go through some of life's highest and lowest points together. Over time, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. So thank you for being my friend and my mentor. And I wish you all good health and Godspeed and success and love and fun in whatever future endeavor, wherever it takes you. I look forward to us having more traveling adventures together as brothers, as you said. So thank you for that. At this time, I said we would open it up to the board for comments. So at this point, I think I will start to my left with Trustee Schalmoser, and we'll just make our way around the dais and give everyone an opportunity to make comments.
Great, thank you, President Burke. Kevin, thank you so much for the opportunity. And the first time I discovered Lake Barrington was when my son Lee was 3 months old. We were driving out here looking for a new home, and we knew we were going out to Barrington. We didn't know exactly where the border ended and stopped, and we said, where are we? I think we're still in Barrington, but we weren't. We were in a very idyllic place, and we knew it was home. We bought a home in 2015, and we got to know you, and we loved it more and more. And now I know why, because it's a wonderful community, and this community has your fingerprints all over it. And you have left such a memorable memory for us. You mentioned what you did for my son Leo. He still talks about that at school. Nobody had that opportunity. That's going to be in some wedding photo montage for sure, when he gets married. And so you really have given us really our North Star of how we should be decent, giving people. And so I'm a big student of history, and I know you are as well. And so one of my favorite people in history is Winston Churchill. And I think he was probably one of the most remarkable people ever, certainly in the 20th century. And there is one quote that he gave that I think embodies you. And that quote is, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And certainly you have given us so much, and I'd like to thank you for that. And I'd like to thank you for being our Winston Churchill. Thank you.
Kevin, it's been a great honor to serve with you and to know you for so long. And thank you for all the kind words you said about all of us this evening. You always have a a special way of making us feel special. And in honor of you tonight, I thought I would share a poem. In the heart of Lake Barrington, Kevin stands tall. For 26 years, he's answered the call. A leader with wisdom, a guide so grand. With vision and courage, he shaped our village brand. An oasis of gracious countryside living, he's delivered with warmth and joy, ever giving. Through trials and triumphs, Kevin's leadership is a sign that his legacy in our village will forever shine. Thank you, Kevin.
Another come back to the phone, you know? Yeah. Sayings and poems. I'm not that creative, unfortunately. But as long as you've been village president, I've been honored to be on this village board because of you. I'm talking about recruiting people. After you became village president, you recruited me to serve on this board, and I guess I've been with you all those years. And I've been honored to serve with you. You've been a great leader. You talk about communities throughout the entire country, and how many of their leaders can they say just are fantastic and really cared about the community. No bad things. I mean, television was going on about people going on and corrupt. Never a problem. Always honest and beyond a shadow of a doubt. Wore this village on your heart. When I did come in a long time ago, one of the things that I wanted to accomplish, and we I think together have, is make one village. We have two sets of homeowners in this community of 5,100. We have single-family homes, and then we've got this gated community with 2,600 people called Lake Barrington Shores. And it was kind of, and I was involved, I have been involved now, it's all those years, it was kind of a little bit of a we versus them. And under your leadership, and hopefully some of the things that I've attempted to accomplish, we're one village. We're one people. We're all looking in the same direction. Might have different needs, but we're all one village. And I think our homeowners appreciate that and benefit from it. You put me on the committee. We talked about public safety, which I've been honored to be part of, with the sheriff's department and the two fire departments that take care of our community. There was also one other aspect of that original committee called gated communities that was part of that. And over the years, we've really been able to not concentrate. Again, one village, one purpose, one objective, and we're fortunate that you've driven that, and that's happened. And I think the other thing which you've been involved with our former trustee, Jim Thompson, is the veterans. And the veterans likewise have been a vital part of bringing the entire community together. And you've been a part of that. Matter of fact, I think they're going to have a special interview with you at the end of the month to talk about your involvement with the veterans. So we appreciate everything that you've done. I appreciate the years that I've been able to serve, and I owe it all to you, because I probably wouldn't be here in the first place for you not to have seen that. So the best of you. It's just been such a vital part of this community, and we're very proud of what we have, and we're here because of that. So thank you, Kevin. And again, like everyone says, the best of everything to you moving forward and whatever life holds. You've got your daughters, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got a lot going for you, so best of everything. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson, well, we met in 2014 as neighbors, and we enjoyed you and the lovely Lynn, and thought, wow, this is just a great relationship, they're great people, and then 2018 comes around and Kevin says, hey, he comes and tells me, just like you said, how great you are and all of your strengths. And I was appointed in 2018 as a trustee of the Village of Lake Barrington, and it's been a great past few years. You have been such a wonderful mentor to me. You've given me opportunities that I just don't think I ever would have, I would not have gone for something like this without you, sorry. But you've given me the opportunity to grow, both professionally and personally, and I thank you so much for that. You have taught me so much. As I said, you have a knack for making people feel that they're valued and appreciated. And I love how you do that with each person that comes in. If a stranger comes in off the street, and every one of us up here, you've just always been so supportive and you always listen. I just want to tell you that I'm very grateful for your support through the past years, both professionally and personally, and I feel extremely, extremely fortunate to have you in my corner.
I know this is I've been in your seat in a different way, but retirements are always an interesting time of reflection. And listening to everybody's great comments about the great work you did, I have a couple of thoughts. One, you know how to take risks. You took a risk. Kevin didn't even know me at all and asked me to run for this board. I had just moved to Lake Barrington just about 8 months prior to that occurring. And you took a risk on me with Randy to encourage me to do that, but it shows you have a pretty strong knack at seeing talent, because everybody on this board is absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure all the predecessors prior to that. I leave you with this, and I think about what you've built 26 years and led a whole crew of dedicated individuals in the city here, in the village. And you think forward 20 years, what are they going to think about Kevin Richardson? I leave this thought with you because I thought about it. There will be people who will always be here and walk in here. They might not know your name, but they know what they see. And you can rest well knowing that everything they see is you and the work you did. Because this is a really wonderful place to live. I knew nothing of it. I just came upon it like Peter. And I got here and I said, this is the spot. And it's really great. And grateful for all that hard work, and to your daughters and your wife, Lynn. I know she can't be with us, but without you sacrificing with your dad, he wouldn't have given all this time that he took from really the family. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Board. At this time, I'd actually like to open up the floor to some of the staff who may want to also comment to you, Kevin, and based on seniority and time in terms of service. We'll start with Mr. Jim Nathan on my left.
I'll just be short and sweet that Kevin, working with you has been one of the true honors of my career as a municipal attorney. And we both said we're going to get broken up and we spent too long in speaking. I have one thing that I think everyone in my family, that my children all appreciate, and that's the quote you often shared: "Don't make the perfect be the enemy of the very, very good." And everyone in all my kids use that phrase professionally, and your influence is spread throughout. It's just been great.
Peggy Hirsch, would you like to come up?
I would. Should I like sit here maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you like, just as long as you have a microphone.
Okay, this way I can face you. You mind if I take your seat? Okay. I've been here 12 years, and you brought me here, thank you. I'm the accountant here, so I usually don't speak much. Many words I don't like to speak much, but I might have a little bit too much to say. And we have some similarities. We're Irish, so we do cry easily. And I also went to the dictionary tonight, so there you go. So according to Merriam-Webster, a good citizen is someone who fulfills their responsibilities as a member of a community, including respecting laws, participating in civic life, and upholding the rights of others. Good citizens are also typically informed about current issues and history and may demonstrate compassion and empathy. Kevin, you are the embodiment of a good citizen. Your name should be part of that definition. But not only that, you are the embodiment of a good public servant. Being a good public servant requires a blend of qualities like integrity, empathy, dedication. You have all of those. You've shown those. You've shown these traits in making fair decisions and serving the public effectively. Your values reflect those of a good public servant. Integrity, once again, responsibility, honesty, respect, and fairness. I've seen all of those come out of you time and time again. You adhere to these values in every decision you've made and all your interactions with the public and with this board. I've worked for other boards, and this board is amazingly cohesive, and I give you a lot of credit for that as the village president. Your work in politics is done with the highest principles of integrity and honor, and it's truly admirable and just worthy of invitation by everybody here. I mean, it's just been incredible. So I'm going to read a poem tonight. I didn't write it, though. So good job on the poem, by the way. And another ex-president, but this is Teddy Roosevelt. The man in the arena. So it's not the critic who counts, nor the one who points out how the strong person stumbled, or where the doer of a deed could have done better. The credit belongs to the person who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, who does actually strive to do deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotion, and spends oneself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, or she fails, at least fails while daring greatly. Far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those timid spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much because they live in the gray twilight that neither knows victory or defeat. Kevin, you are the man in the arena. You have dared greatly, and you now have the triumph of high achievement. Lake Barrington is a better place because of you. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you. Thank you, sir.
Sharon.
Sure.
Here, let me hand the tissue.
I just wanted to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to work with you. It's been a wonderful 2 years, and I'm just very proud to be able to call Lake Barrington my work home. And you've been a great mentor and a wonderful leader, and I've learned a lot. And I wish you the best in your retirement. And I look forward to continuing to work with you on a volunteer basis as well.
Thank you. Rebecca, would you like to say a few words?
The night that I met you was when I was getting appointed, and something that really stuck out was, I had a couple of people from my family here, which meant a lot to me, and I was so nervous, and I'd never been in a room like this, and you took a chance on me, and changed my life for that. But something that you had said to me was, you looked right at my dad when you said it, and you said, I will protect her, and I will make sure that she is safe here. And that just said a lot about your character on that day, and I came here feeling very confident that I would be taken care of when it happened. So thank you.
And I see a couple of staff members. Jenny or Valley, either of you care to say anything? No obligation.
I stay behind the camera.
Okay. Thank you for being here, both of you. Oh, Becky, yes. Sorry. Please, by all means.
Kevin, it's been an honor to work with you. As my father said, your wisdom has passed on to everyone in the community,
lessons, you know, we've all learned. You are a true leader and a man of great character and integrity. You're always so gracious in how, you know, you appear on the dais. And so well spoken. You are a great legal mind, even though you joke and say that you're not a great lawyer. You truly are, and a great political mind. And Village of Lake Barrington is a better place for having been mayor of it. So, as someone who grew up in Lake Barrington, I can truly say that you have really, you know, upheld the traits that people love in Lake Barrington, but made it better at the same time. So, thank you for all you've done for all of your many years of service. Lake Barrington is a better place because of you. Thank you.
So Kevin, we still have a lot more stuff to do. I hope you're not going to get tired standing there.
Let's get to the presents.
All right. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. But we have many special things for you tonight. One more special than the other. This one has to be way up there. We have a letter from President Trump that's congratulating you for all your years of public service. This letter was procured by your amazing daughter, Mary Ellen, and will be read aloud tonight by your other amazing daughter, Charlotte. So, with that...
And hear me?
Perfectly.
Wonderful. U.S. presidential letter congratulating Kevin C. Richardson. Dear Mayor Richardson, congratulations on your retirement after more than 26 years serving the great citizens of Lake Barrington, Illinois. Melania and I are pleased to join your family, friends, and colleagues in commending you on your many years of hard work and dedication as mayor and village president. Your commitment to excellence and dedication to exemplifying the American dream through hard work, perseverance, and principled leadership have been the foundation of your tremendous success over the course of your long and accomplished career. May the years ahead be filled with happiness, good health, and well-deserved relaxation. Sincerely, President Trump.
Thank you, Mary Ellen, and thank you, Charlotte, and thanks for being with us tonight. It's fun having you guys with us. That's really awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Don't go away. We have more fun coming. Next, we have Deputy District Director Jenny Harmon with us here from the Honorable Mike Quigley's office from the 5th District, and she is going to read tonight from the Congressional Record extension of remarks from the Honorable Mike Quigley. And Jen, thanks for being with us tonight.
My pleasure. Congratulations. So this is a statement that was read into the Congressional Record, so it will always be in the Congressional Record of the United States. So this is in my boss's voice. Mr. Speaker, I rise to pay tribute to Kevin C. Richardson upon his retirement as the mayor of the village of Lake Barrington, Illinois. Mayor Richardson has been a steadfast leader of Lake Barrington since he was sworn into village office on May 4th, 1999, both as a village trustee and as mayor. During his time in office, Mayor Richardson oversaw vast economic growth, the expansion of affordable housing, the protection of public space, and the restoration of environmental habitats. Mayor Richardson has also been a strong partner in bringing federal money and resources to Lake Barrington. Before his tenure as mayor, Kevin worked in and around politics at the national level, including as the Associate Counsel on the Subcommittee on Administrative Law of the U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee. During his time in Washington, D.C., Kevin met the love of his life, Lynn. Lynn and Kevin were married for 36 loving years. Together, they raised two amazing daughters, Mary Ellen and Charlotte. After 26 years of public service to the village of Lake Barrington, Mayor Richardson is retiring on May 6, 2025. It is with immense respect that I honor Mayor Richardson for his service to Lake Barrington nation. His leadership, compassion, and tireless work on behalf of others exemplify the ideals we strive for as Americans.
I tell the story about this. Congressman Quigley's legislative director is a talented man named Charlie Chambers. And his father was a Hoosier Republican, like I was an Illinois Republican, and he married a Democratic staffer like I did, because in Washington in those days you could do that. And my older girl, Mary Ellen, and Charlie shared the playpen at the United Methodist Church on Capitol Hill on Sunday services because their moms were both in the choir. And so when I got to know Charlie as an adult through your office, it was a wonderful homecoming, and I look forward to not only thanking your boss for this, because I put stuff like this in the record myself years ago. We used quill pens. And I know what this means, and please let the congressman, who I respect for his work on both the appropriations and the intelligence committees, how much I am grateful for his leadership on behalf of our community. Thank you.
And moving right along, we next have a proclamation from Illinois State Representative Marty McLaughlin, who could not be with us. He's working tonight and in session. Trustee Rich Hayes has agreed to read this proclamation on behalf of Marty McLaughlin. Thanks, Rich.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, House of Representatives, 104th General Assembly. Representative Marty McLaughlin put forth House Resolution number 228. Whereas the members of the Illinois House of Representatives wish to congratulate Kevin Richardson on the occasion of his retirement as village president of the Village of Lake Barrington. And whereas Kevin's public service began when he was elected as trustee of Lake Barrington Board of Trustees in '99, and he served in that capacity to 2005 when he was elected president, re-elected in 9, 13, 17, and 21. Whereas during his tenure, President Richardson has prioritized open space and environment as a key initiative, with the cornerstone of this initiative being to making open space publicly accessible. Under your leadership, Lake Barrington strategically acquired land for the preservation of open space in order to make Barrington an oasis of gracious countryside living. And whereas Kevin has been a community visionary through his establishment of Fire Farm, a 24-acre park that includes a community garden, a brick fire pit, horseshoes, walking trails, winter sledding hill, and his development of Veteran Park next to it, an 8.1-acre park that includes walking trails, fitness stations, and an overlook pier on the pond, further showcasing his focus on protecting Lake Barrington's natural environment and groundwater recharge areas. And whereas President Richardson's foresight has benefited the village of Lake Barrington numerous times, including when he negotiated an intergovernmental agreement with the Wakanda, Cuba, and Illinois Sierra Club to ensure that the proposed expansion of Wakanda's water reclamation plant operated under higher treatment standards than required by the state of Illinois, thereby protecting the groundwater in Lake Barrington. And whereas President Richards' civic service has gone beyond Lake Barrington, he has served on the Board of Visitors of the Graduate School of Public Policy at Pepperdine University, an advisory board member of the Institute for Latino Studies at the University of Notre Dame, and on the Political Advocacy Committee of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the Mayor's Water Council for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, both located in Washington, D.C. since 2007. And whereas President Richardson will preside over the village's last board meeting tonight, on May 6th, concluding 20 years of service to the village, and therefore be resolved by the House of Representatives of the 104th General Assembly of the State of Illinois, that we congratulate Kevin Richardson on his retirement as village president of the Village of Lake Barrington, thank him for his dedication as a public servant, and wish him much happiness in his future endeavors, and be it further resolved that the suitable copy of this resolution be presented to Kevin as an expression of our esteem and respect, adopted by the House of Representatives on April 7, 2025. Signed by John Holman, the Clerk of the House, and Emmanuel Welch, Speaker of the House. Congratulations, Kevin.
Y'all have been busy.
We have. Many people have. We're not finished yet, but we're getting there. Last, but certainly not least, in the arena of proclamations is we have a proclamation tonight from the Village of Lake Barrington. It's beautifully framed for you, but it's going to be my honor to read that to you and to all who are watching us and with us tonight. This is a proclamation honoring Mayor Kevin C. Richardson. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson was elected as a village trustee in 1999 and served in this capacity until his election as mayor of Lake Barrington in 2005. Whereas following his election as mayor in 2005, Kevin C. Richardson led the Board of Trustees and the Plan Commission in a visioning exercise that resulted in the village's long-standing brand statement that has positioned Lake Barrington as an oasis of gracious countryside living. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson led the village's effort to negotiate a groundbreaking intergovernmental agreement with the village of Wakanda, the Illinois Sierra Club, and Cuba Township that protected Lake Barrington's groundwater sources in and around Field Creek and resulted in Wakanda committing to significantly greater wastewater treatment standards than were otherwise required by Illinois state authorities. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson pioneered the village's open space ballot initiative that resulted in Lake Barrington voters confirming their support for the village's first ever bond referendum dedicated to acquiring open space, which in turn led to the village's acquisition of the Friar Farm and Featherling Park. In addition, the village's commitment to open space was furthered by its co-leading a partnership with Citizens for Conservation to preserve and improve open space at Cuba Road and US Route 14, and by his active and long-standing participation in the Mayor's Water Council at the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson worked with village residents as well as with other units of local government and state and federal officials to protect countless heritage trees from destruction by successfully opposing state plans to widen Illinois Route 22, thereby also supporting the village's long-standing tree preservation ordinance. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson worked closely with village, county, and state officials in effectuating the final cleanup of a long-time toxic landfill which had threatened groundwater sources in northern neighborhoods of Lake Barrington. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson successfully recruited a strong team of village officials during his tenure that had included a number of talented Lake Barrington residents who serve or have served the community on the Board of Trustees, the Plan Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Ethics Commission. This has been matched by the community's successful recruitment of exceptionally accomplished staff in such key positions as the village administrator, the village treasurer, the village attorney, the village clerk, the village accountant, and the village permit coordinator. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson partnered with his colleagues in village government to establish a strong financial foundation for Lake Barrington's future and a supportive and far-sighted business climate that has enabled the village to have several years of zero increases in residential tax property rates during his term. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson has earned the respect of both Lake Barrington residents and numerous governmental and business leaders from both the Barrington region and across the country and from overseas. Whereas Kevin C. Richardson has been widely appreciated for his strong sense of equity in making policy decisions during his tenure, often displaying his well-known sense of humor in dealing with difficult issues. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Lake Barrington, Lake County, Illinois, that the Village of Lake Barrington wishes to recognize Kevin C. Richardson's 26 years of dedicated service to his community and, on behalf of all Lake Barrington residents, is pleased to extend its deep thanks and its best wishes for a happy and productive future. Congratulations. None of this is official until the board actually approves this proclamation, which is an order of business that we are going to take care of now. So I will call this for a vote, and I'm going to ask Trustee Hayes to move the motion and Trustee Schallmoser to second it when I call the vote, and we will take it from there. So, Chair would like a motion to approve the proclamation honoring Mayor Kevin C. Richardson. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Schallmoser. Thank you very much. Would the clerk please read the roll?
Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee
we have a few more surprises.
There's just a
It
lot of
looks like
stuff.
Christmas over here.
Yeah. I hope you brought a short.
Okay. So, what we have here is a dedication of this boardroom that will now be known as the Kevin C. Richardson Boardroom. And one of these plaques will go home with you, our lucky contestant tonight. And one will be hung proudly on the wall somewhere,
Outside the corner.
right outside the boardroom. So on behalf of the board and the staff, we congratulate you and are totally honored to name this room after you, because I can think of nobody who spent more time in here than us with you. So congratulations, my friend. And
This wasn't really scratched.
a parting gift. We have a parting gift. We have a parting gift for you that was a culmination of a lot of people who's helped in this room, including my wife here, Zach, who we know she has some artistic talent and creative talents that we got working on this. But what we decided to do was give you this shadow box. That this is your official gavel, your official nameplate. You weren't missing it, were you, by any chance?
I had suspicions.
We took it right off. We took it right off your desk, and this right off the dice. And on the back, you have a little inscription that says, "Kevin, thank you for 26 years of dedicated service to the village of Lake Barrington. Congratulations on your retirement. Best wishes for continued success and fulfillment with all your future endeavors. The Board of Trustees and staff and everyone has signed the back." And I said, let's just keep it on a first name basis. And if he forgets 20 years from now, that's fine too. So great. Congratulations and thanks again, Kevin.
Thank you. God bless.
So this time, that concludes our formal presentation to you, Kevin. We are going to now take a recess. We're going to have a little bit of a reception and some light refreshments. Everyone who is here is very welcome to join us across the hall in the community room there. Is there anything that you'd like to say now before we break for the reception?
Simply, my undying gratitude for not only this evening's marvelous gestures of kindness and support, which will stay with me forever. This stuff means a lot more to me now than it did. Lynn's loss has made me a lot more sensitive to the kindness of people, and there are some remarkably kind people in this community and elsewhere. It is rare that you see me at a loss for words, but you all saw it tonight, and I thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take some light recess and we're going to join across the hall. We're across the hall. Recess now. We have some real business to conduct now. After what was a glorious couple of first hours. Great. Again, thank you, and debt of gratitude for everyone for their contribution to making this a really special night for Kevin. And your comments were incredible. The gifts, the proclamations, everything together, the party. So thank you, staff and board. I know it's been a special night for him, one that he will not soon forget, and one that was very well deserved. So thank you all for participating so fully in that. So as we come out of recess, there's almost some irony to this. We're continuing with the president's remarks, so I have a whole other speech prepared. But since we have an unbelievably patient young man in the back, who I'm going to ask, Zach, I'm going to ask you to come forward, who is here for a courtesy review. And we'll tell you a little bit. Do you have any setup for this, or do you? No? Do you have a little setup for this before we ask Zach?
I can just give a brief.
Please do.
A brief introduction. There's a home that is, it's not a home, it's a vacant lot that's for sale over in the Lakeland Estates subdivision. It's currently, the buildable space on it is 38,000 square feet. It's in the R1 zoning district. Their requirements are 40,000 square feet. Zach is interested in purchasing the property and will be appearing before the zoning commission to get a variation. And he was interested in just the entire process and was interested in hearing, doing the courtesy review as a first step in the process.
Very good. Thank you. Zach, welcome. Thank you a million times over for your patience tonight. Of course, we've sent him home and brought him back like 3 different times. But you live close by, right?
Yep, we are in North Barrington right now.
You're in North Barrington right now?
Yep.
And so please, first start out by introducing yourself and giving us your address, please. And just a little background on yourself, a little background on what you're intending to do. And I'll just remind the board, and I'll remind you, Zach, that this is just customary for us when people are interested in purchasing land or starting a business or building a home. And they'll come before the board for what we call our courtesy review, which is simply to kind of take the temperature or the pulse of the board to see how favorably or unfavorably we might view such a proposition, so business people and other folks will come to us. It's completely non-binding. It's nothing more than to give you some sense, because we're not into wasting people's time and money. And if this board tells you tonight that you get the sense they're not real keen on it, then it may just be one of those that would give you some pause. If the board is more keen on it, then it may give you a little more enthusiasm to pursue the process. But we sure don't want to waste your time or your money pursuing something that could dead end right here at this board, right? So that's the idea behind this courtesy review. So introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about what you're thinking about doing.
Yeah, certainly. So, definitely appreciate the opportunity to come do the courtesy review. My name is Zach Kerr. I currently live in North Barrington with my fiance, and we are under contract for a lot in the Lakeland Estates neighborhood, as Sharon mentioned. So, looking to build a single-family home. Nothing too substantial, just something to nicely fit into the neighborhood and keep it a single-family home. The lot is currently vacant. It's heavily wooded right now, but we are looking to build. So just a little bit of background on the lot. It is about 2.1 acres. The buildable space on it is 38,000 square feet, and the village of Lake Barrington requires 40,000 square feet of buildable space to build the lot. So I will be requesting a variation to ultimately reduce the size of the buildable space from that 40,000 to 38,000. But happy to share any more information. We are under contract, so we're definitely just in the early stages right now, but wanted to kind of go through the formal process and make sure everything's come up to par before going any further.
Could maybe you or someone could educate me, how many acres roughly, or how many square feet is an acre? Does anybody know?
36,000.
Okay.
It's 46,000.
46,000?
Yeah, it's over 40.
Over 40?
Okay.
Okay. So that means the 2.1 is more than 80,000 square feet.
It's
So
about 98,000 square feet.
okay, I could maybe just ask that. So 90-some plus, so less than half of that is what's being deemed buildable. Is that because of wetland delineations and whatnot, right? So we have a 2.1 acre lot, which about half of that is buildable. And it's a couple thousand square feet below what is allowable by our village code, correct? Okay. Great. As is customary, I think we'll just kind of make our way around the dais. I think I'll start with Trustee Hayes to see if you have any questions or comments for.
No, I mean, all properties can be impaired in some way. If it's not you, who's next? So, I mean, I think it needs to be looked at clearly, but it does seem unreasonable to make a request for a zoning variance for something like that, because there'll be someone else behind you. So, I think you should go forth and bring it in. I think if it all lines up, that it would be reasonable to, from my seat, not knowing everything now, but I can see where I can certainly listen to that, see a positive outcome for it.
I agree with Trustee Hayes. I don't see any problem with moving forward.
Yeah, if it's vacant now, this is better use than being a vacant lot. I guess the only question, do we anticipate any neighbors having a high objection to a home being built on that property? Are we aware of any?
Well, here's how I answer that. Thank you for the question. So the plan commission meeting and or public hearing means that anybody obviously is welcome and invited. So people, if they're, and that's the purpose. So if there are neighbors or others who have concerns, then they have every right to come and voice those concerns to the plan commission. So that's the plan commission's role. They collect all the facts. They collect all the feedback. They hold the public hearing, which is allowing people to come in support of, or potentially not, but in support of. They weigh all that. They make a recommendation to us, the board. We're the deciding body. So when they make the recommendation, we either accept that recommendation or push back and say we have additional questions or concerns, or reject that. So that's why the courtesy review is important, to just get a sense of where we're coming from. But we don't have all the facts and all the details, so there are things like neighbors' objections that we can't anticipate at this point in time. Right.
Yeah, I believe one of the steps of the variation application will be to notify all the neighbors. So we'll have a list of all the neighbors.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, but obviously, as I said, it's a better use of land than it being vacant. So I would think moving forward, if the plan commission is satisfied with it, that there would be a tendency for us to move forward without obligating ourselves right now. So, yes.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm curious, what is it that attracts you to that space?
Yeah, so certainly just kind of the openness. My fiance and I, we lived in the city for about 5 years, so we are definitely on the outskirts now, relatively, but have just enjoyed the space. I think it has definitely a lot of potential. It does back up into kind of wetlands area, which I think would be a great nature scene, definitely in the right environment. So it just seems like a great opportunity for a single family home there.
And we appreciate your interest in Lake Barrington.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest. It'll be your primary residence if you're approved?
Yes, it'll be a single family home, yeah.
And you live there?
The plan is yes.
And what is the construction cost? Do you have any idea of how much you're looking to spend on a new home?
I'm hoping to spend around $325,000 to $350,000.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Bateman, do you have anything to add to this conversation at this time?
Thank you. I would just offer the council that the best thing you can do is make sure that it checks out with Lake County Health Department. That it needs to have an adequate soil to support a septic system. And that's the most important thing you do before you buy. And then the zoning is somewhat a second thought once the septic system is worked out.
Right, because that's a showstopper if it doesn't meet there. So that's good counsel and something to definitely take back from that perspective. So thank you for that, Mr. Bateman. Anything else from your perspective?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So, any other questions or concerns for Mr. Aaron?
I
Yes.
just want to say, you never know in 20 years, you could possibly be the He's the first person coming in, it's you.
Your future mayor.
Do you realize there's some serendipity to this moment? I didn't expect right now.
I mean, but.
Oh, yeah. You have to issue some small complaint to make the whole cycle complete.
I don't know if you're quite sure what you're asking for.
There are always strings attached, Zachary, so just know that there are somewhere those strings will come back. But again, we sincerely appreciate you taking the time to come to us. I think you're hearing from the board that it checks out through the planning commission and all the other boxes are checked, that there appears to be an openness, and certainly you seem like a delightful young man, and we'd love to have you be part of our community. So hopefully things will work out for you, and we'll see you back here at some point. But thanks for sticking it out tonight with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you guys very much.
Have a great rest of your night. Thank you. So item 10 on the agenda is opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items. Is there anyone here tonight from the public that wishes to address the board on any agenda item?
Please, somebody, please.
Nobody wants to complain. Being that there is none, we will move on to agenda item 11. This is a public hearing portion, which is proposed establishment of special service area number 16 for North Point Parkway. Right now, I need a motion, right, to go into public hearing?
Correct, a motion to open the public hearing.
A motion to open the public hearing. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
It's moved by trustee Hayes and seconded by trustee Scheller. Thank you. And we need a roll call vote on this, please, Rebecca.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Scheller?
Yes.
Trustee Schauhauser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes, thank you very much. Is there anyone here tonight seeking to speak during the public hearing section of the special service area number 16? Being that there is none,
A motion to close.
we can now, I need a motion to close the public hearing on special service area number 16. Do I have a motion, please? So moved. Moved by trustee Hayes.
Second.
And seconded by trustee Schauhauser. Thank you. I need a roll call, please, Rebecca.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Scheller?
Yes.
Trustee Schauhauser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Bateman, as a result of this now, can you just please remind the board and anybody who might be watching what, in satisfying this process, what, so I'm putting it on your attorney belt. That's all.
Okay.
So that everybody understands where this fits with the whole process.
So, having closed and adjourned the public hearing, we now have to wait 60 days, at least 60 days, to give the residents and electors in that area the opportunity to, and I don't think there are any registered voters, there are just owners of record, to file an objection if they do have to have an objection to the special service area. And if they file an objection that reflects more than 51% or more, then we can't do anything with special service area for 2 years. But we seem to have the written agreement from all owners that that they want the special service area to go forward because it's going to pay for half of the cost of rebuilding North Point Park.
Great. Thanks for that clarification.
So the next hearing, the hearing where we will revisit this subject is August 5th. August 5th. So we don't have to continue this or anything, it would just be set on on your agenda.
Okay, very good. Thanks for clarifying. And while we're on this subject, I just want to acknowledge that in the audience with us tonight, who has been part of all the festivities and sat through this for the last couple hours, is Eva Cole, who is the owner of Exciting VR that happens to reside on North Point. So thanks for being with us tonight, and thanks for partying with us a little bit tonight. She's like, you guys are fun. She tells me in conversation that Exciting VR will be opening very soon. So she just has to get a few things finished up. And then we're going to try to coordinate a ribbon cutting ceremony with the area council. And we will all be invited to come play exciting VR games. Yes. I'll be the first in line. The kid of me will be coming out. So thank you for being here tonight. We wish you well, and we'll look forward to the grand opening.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes,
Very good. So we can move on to item number 12, which is our consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, do we have to read through all this?
You only have to read the capital caption.
The capital caption. Got it. So under the consent agenda, item A, we have electric aggregation program 2025. And then B, we have consideration of extension to the employment agreement for the village administrator. Item C, consideration to approve an agreement in the amount of $16,680 at 0 cents with Corrective Asphalt Materials LLC of South Roxana, Illinois. So the reclamite application for the Wedgewood Trail Subdivision Street Resurfacing Program. Item D, consideration of an ordinance amending the Village of Lake Barrington Village Code Section 7.3.12. Item E, consideration of an ordinance amending the Lake Barrington Village Code RE Section 2.3.6, classification of licenses. Item F, consideration of a resolution supporting an intergovernmental agreement between Barrington Township, Cuba Township, and the Village of Lake Barrington to provide for contribution under the local share agreement with PACE for senior/handicapped bus service. Item G, the ILCNA 2020 Summer Conference for our village administrator. Item H, consideration of an application for a temporary use special event for the Field and Flower Garden Club's plant sale, which is to be held on Saturday, May 17, 2025 at Friar Farm from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And lastly, item I, Sunset Serenade concerts at Friar Farm. So, Chair would like a motion. Is there any further discussion required on these items before we take it to a vote?
The only question I have
Yes.
is the consideration of liquor licenses. Does that include an issuance of new licenses to the Lake Barrington Golf Club or not?
Yeah, that's on there.
It does. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, the new golf club, LBS golf club is on, listed as a for liquor license.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions on the consent agenda? If no, then Chair would like a motion to approve in block. Yes?
Yes.
Items A through I of the consent agenda. Do I have such a motion?
So,
Moved by Trustee Scheller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Perkins. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hayes,
Yes.
Trustee Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee Scheller.
Yes.
Trustee Schalmoser.
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
And President Berg.
Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. Next on the agenda, item 13 is the treasurer's report. Mrs. Hirsch, please approach the podium, turn on the microphone, and give them the
Thank you.
best ever.
I'm just going to mention, I was shortly here at the village. We had a team building exercise at Camlin Sports. I will not do that anywhere else because that day I tore my rotator cuff because I was chosen to scamper up a little blowy up thing, and it was a relay race, and the person in front of me went like this, the person went months, ended March 31st, 2025. I'm going to just kind of go quickly because we'll do a whole year review next month. I don't want to go through this. We just had a big review last month, so I have reviewed them. They're in good shape. I don't want to go over them because of that. I'm just thinking that we don't need to do a lot of analysis this evening. So I'll just...
Concur.
So I just read the big numbers. Okay, so we have assets of $3,312,000. Our liabilities are $420,000, and our equities at $2,892,000. Revenue for the month, for this, 11 months is $3,736,000. Expenses $3,732,000. A slight net income of about almost $4,000. There's nothing to mention extraordinary this month. It's actually been a relatively quiet month. So our regular operation net income is almost $791,000. Compared to last year at this point, $645,000. We'll go through that next month. So just moving ahead to the budget to actual report, and you can see we still have 1 month to go. I'm going to my page 12 and 13. We actually have 100% revenue to budget, so now we obviously will collect more revenue than we budgeted because we have 1 more month of revenue. We can go through that next month, but building permit revenue is up much more than we projected this would be for the year, so that's good. And then on page 13, our expenses are at 96% actual budget, so they're going to run a little bit higher as well than budget. But overall, we're in very good shape, nothing to worry about. We've talked it all through during our budgeting process last month, but happy to answer any questions if something is unusual to somebody or if you need something explained further. Okay. Move on to the motor fuel tax fund. We have $655,000 in there. We're going to spend about $460,000 in fiscal year 26. So we'll still keep building that fund up, over the years to do a roadwork project in every 2 to 3 years. That's always been the plan. Moving on to the water sewer fund. Nothing unusual to mention there. If I can get to that page. Like our net current assets, they are $1,670,000. So we're still building some cash in there, and we're still working on the water sewer rate study. So that is, we're getting close on that as well. I reviewed the accounts payable. They're all in order for you. I only have one to mention. That's unusual. Once again, it's been a relatively quiet month. State graphics, and that's for $2,188.63, and that is for the summer newsletter, which I believe has it been mailed, Rebecca, or okay, that's out for everyone to see. That's all I have. So, any questions on any of this? Anybody?
Any questions for the treasurer?
And we'll have more analysis next month when we have a full year of, and we'll do our accruals. We don't some of the accruals we don't do until year end as well.
I have a question. Are we closed out sharing with the contractor to the repairs?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We paid that last month, I believe, at the last board meeting, and then I also spoke with IML RMA, and there wasn't anything outstanding with them. They were also closing it.
Great.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, I will stand here for the next one just because we're doing an appropriation ordinance.
Got it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, good night, Eva, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We want to approve first in block. Do we want to do the bills first before we move to the hearing? So
correct. Sorry.
Yes. So do you have anything to say about that, or just?
I just did. I mentioned the one bill that we had that was
Sure. All right. So Chair would like a motion to approve in block items 13A, which is the financial statements for March 31st, B. Pay bills in the amount of $122,134.21 as listed on accounts payable warrant A, dated May 6, 2025, and C, pay bills in the amount of $162,749.75 as listed on the accounts payable warrant B. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Hayes.
Second.
And seconded by Trustee Van Ryn. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Scheller?
Yes.
Trustee Schallhauser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes, thank you. Now I would like a motion to go into public hearing regarding the appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2026. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Hayes.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Perkins. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Schalmoser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes, thank you. If there anyone here, there does not appear to be anyone here who would like to speak or make public comment to this. So, Chair would now ask for a motion to close the public hearing regarding the appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2026.
So
Moved by trustee Hayes, thank you. Seconded by trustee Perkins, thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hayes?
yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Schalmoser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes, thank you. Chair would now make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-0-09, an appropriation ordinance for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2026. Do I have such a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Van Ryn,
Second.
seconded by trustee Schalmoser, because I was looking right at it. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hayes?
How am I always first now? Yes.
Yes.
I know. But Andy was my buffer. I hear Burke.
Then you would perk up.
I'm gonna perk up.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Schalmoser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
And President Burke?
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Rebecca. That was a lot of roll calling. I warned everyone in advance we could be roll calling a lot tonight. So, next, we're moving on to the agenda item number 14, which is the administrative report. Sharon.
Thank you, President Burke. I just wanted to update the board that I had sent out 17 requests for proposals for the IT managed services. They were due on May 1st. We received 5. There was an additional straggler that came in the day after. So we received 6 total. Jenny and our reviewed them yesterday. I'll be reviewing them this week. We'll be sitting down together and bringing a recommendation for the committee of the whole in June, and then a final recommendation to the board in July. And I just wanted to congratulate everybody on their positions, and I look forward to working with everybody again for another several years.
Thank you. Item 15, clerk's report for that.
The first one has been very busy in the past couple weeks, so I don't have a formal written. What I wanted to do was give you an update on the businesses, because the deadline for their applications was the 30th of April. So there are still a bunch that aren't turned in. I can give you those numbers in the weekly update maybe, and kind of narrow that down, and then kind of go from there. Give you guys next steps along the way, and just encourage these businesses to keep moving on. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Rebecca. Agenda item number 16, reports of standing committees. We will start off with trustee Van Ryn, branding and communications.
Other than it's an honor to be back with the board again for another 4 years, I have no reports this evening.
Thank you. Economic development, that's me. I have a very quick comment. Many of you met a gentleman by the name of Brian Thompson who came to the board for a courtesy review for the Honey Lake Bee Farm. And he has been working tirelessly with the owner of that property on Pepper Road. And they've gotten quite close to contract terms. So it would appear as though Mr. Thompson is intending to move forward and come to the May 22nd Planning Commission meeting to discuss his plan and to seek some potential zoning relief. As you know, it's currently, I think, R5, right?
Yeah, it is R5.
And would be looking for a B zoning. And so the Planning Commission will hear that first on May 22nd if that moves forward. We have some meetings to do. The one thing that I would ask all of you to do as we are preparing, as the Planning Commission takes it on and prepares to hear that, is if you are not already familiarize yourself with what B zoning is. Okay, it's a unique piece of property. As you know, residential residentially. There are no other residential homes around it. There are some very light passive use, a pool company, a landscaper, and some other things in that area. So we're looking for the right blend and complement of use. And we all, if you recall, said we like the idea of the use, and we think it could be a really perfect fit for what we want to do, keeping in mind that the bee zoning would be for anything that could go in bee zoning, not just honeybee farming. So familiarize yourself with that so that you're versed on it before we discuss it any further. The Planning Commission brings it to you. But we'll keep you posted on the progress, and we're hopeful we can work to a resolution for all parties. That's it for my report tonight. Item C, Finance, Human Resources, and Administration. Trustee Hayes.
I just want to thank all the staff for putting Kevin's thing together. It takes a lot to coordinate that, make sure everything's there, because it's such an important moment, and it was phenomenal how it came together. So I was appreciative of having been here to see it. You guys did a really nice job. So other than that, I talked to all the trustees last week about what we're going to talk about in the whole next month. So we'll talk about that then. That's all. Thanks. And congratulations again to all of you for,
and to you as well.
Tough races.
Yeah.
Smoke.
You all persevere. D, Roads and Infrastructure. Trustee Shawms.
Thank you, President Burke. I reached out today to Sean Deal from Gilwald Hamilton to get updates on the Little Trail. Everything's going smoothly. Communication, which is key to get way ahead of that. People are aware. A little bit of a hiccup, school bus issue where we couldn't get through, but they all pulled off to the side. And there was one resident that was, for a short time, inconvenience, but that's been smoothed over. He said he's going to give me a call back next week, give me an update, but I think it's very smooth and good job.
Great.
Ahead of schedule.
Good to hear. Thank you. Item E, Public Safety. Trustee Schaller.
Thank you, President Burke, and congratulations to you, and I look forward to serving under you.
Thank you. I've never heard it said like that from a radio announcer's voice. It's very nice.
Testing. Lake County Sheriff's Department, thank you for your patience, likewise, who have been with us most of this evening. Ongoing scans, and then my other question is, we get the daily report now from Lake Barrington, which we appreciate. And a lot of that report involves business checks. And I was just wondering, we got marketplace and we got the business part, what encompasses a business check and how often, and is there a priority that being accomplished on a regular basis?
So those types of checks are pretty much random and dependent upon what type of activity we see during that time frame. So like during the day, businesses, if they're open, we try to be present, and try to prevent any sort of criminal activity, obviously. At nighttime, we'll be in those business areas just to, for the same reason. But, patrols are pretty much random unless there's some sort of impetus to point us in that direction and make us want to be in that area. Like if, say, a neighborhood is experiencing some car burglaries, well then, those cars that work during that time will be, well, you know what, you need to get in the neighborhoods at nighttime more because this is the problem. Unfortunately, a lot of law enforcement is reactive. Some percentage of it is proactive, but a lot of times those extra patrols are, there's probably some crimes that will be, the patrol will, somebody will see the patrol there and they'll move on, which is what we hope for them to do. Obviously, we don't want crime anywhere, but we prefer not to be here like Barrington.
But you don't go out and check all the doors and all that good stuff?
No, well, when we do, I think I've said it before, but we do house watches, and I don't know, maybe I just haven't said it for a while, but a citizen can request to have a house watch done. So say you're going to be going away for a couple weeks on vacation or a business trip, you can
call up our non-emergency number, request a house wash, that puts it on our list, and the deputies will, maybe not every shift, but, definitely several times during the week, stop by your house, go around and check all your doors. You do have to have a key holder on file for that, but it's a service that we provide at no cost. Business checks at nighttime, sometimes they will check the doors. But if businesses are open, sometimes they'll make contact with the business owners, talk with them. But it's just, how we do it.
But there are routine checks, as we get that report, and the marketplace and the business park is routinely checked on a regular basis. And I think that's good service that's being provided to the people of our community. Appreciate that.
Well,
Scam-wise, anything going on lately?
nothing in particular that I have talked about recently. I haven't seen anything new.
The Channel 7's been doing a lot on squatters. We don't have any squatters, do we?
Not that I'm aware of. Let's hope that we don't have any problems like that.
Thank you very kindly.
You're welcome.
Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District, just I think I mentioned about equipment. They finally they received a new ambulance this a couple of weeks ago, and they have to order another one, but it'll take them 3 years to get that, and they'll pay $500,000 for a new ambulance. So it's interesting that both Barrington Countryside and Wakanda is in need of equipment, but the lead time in getting this equipment is excessive, and the price, like for an ambulance, is $500,000. So it's quite an investment to look forward to what's going on. Wakanda Fire Department, just for your interest, they have 1,220 calls year to date. That's an increase of 14%. And of those 1,220, 879 are emergency and rescue. So we get a lot of emergency rescue from the Wakanda Fire Department. And one of the trustees, Trustee Plantis, retired from the Wakanda Fire District. He had served there for 45 years. So he beat out Kevin by a couple, but he retired as well. It's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Shaw. And thank you, Lieutenant Kirk, for always being handy with us. So we appreciate that. Last and certainly not least, item F, open space and special events. Trustee Perkins.
Thank you, President Burke. Congratulations, everyone. And I don't have a really huge report. Everybody knows from like the last several meetings. We have the sunset ceremony coming. We set a barn stomp date. We actually have a meeting tomorrow morning, right, girls? We're gonna chit chat about. Yeah.
How early?
12 hours from now.
Actually, yes. It is, yes. Stay until an hour. I might as well just stay here. Yeah. But that's it. Well,
Plenty of time to prepare.
give you some more information next month, because this has been a long one. We'll expect not such late meetings, okay?
Oh, no, you can count on that from me. This is not on me tonight.
No, I know.
I get a pass tonight. It all starts in earnest next month.
We can do this once every 26 years.
Right. Well said. A quick note about committees. With Kevin's departure and shifting of seats, and obviously we know that we still need to appoint my successor, there will be probably likely some mixing around, changing up of committees, and maybe committee assignments. And what I mean by that is, and I've challenged Sharon a little bit with this too. It was interesting, we did a little historic dive into committees, and it's morphed over the years, and it kind of morphs towards what's urgent, what's important at the time, what we're looking at. I mean, we had the COVID, we've had lots of things, and she went back and was looking at old meeting notes, and I was kind of intrigued by the various different committees that we've cycled through, gated communities you referenced the other day. So I challenged her a little bit, and I put it to her this way. I said, as you think about the challenges that you and the staff face moving forward to help to manage this village, what do you see as the critical things where we as a board support your mission and your effort? And that will inform us on where we should be focusing, and that will inform us on the committees that we want to form. So for example, if we're moving into other areas of, cybersecurity or whatever that might be, maybe that needs to become its own thing. So challenge Sharon a little bit to think about that. I'm thinking about that. We'll engage all of you in that, because I think the first step is, I said, let's just list out the important things. Don't worry about titles of committees, but just what are the important blocks of work that we do. And let's put them on a piece of paper and prioritize them and decide which ones we think are worthy of forming a committee and having some leadership applied, some board leadership applied to those areas. That's the best way I know to think of it. Then as we have that list, we can decide if we want to combine things, create committees that multiple or multifaceted committees, whatever that might be, and then ultimately decide who ought to be leading that committee. So that's kind of the way my brain works anyway. What we did in business, it's like, what are the needs? Then how do you group those needs, and then how do you take the resources and the skills and the talents that you have in your group and best assign them to meet those needs? So that's the process that we're going to go through, but we'll go through it collaboratively. We'll figure that out. So we'll have group discussions and we'll have individual discussions. And if anybody has ideas, then I welcome those ideas now, anytime. Shoot me an email and say, here's things I'm thinking about, as well as if anybody's thinking it's time for a change of scenery and they'd like to consider doing something else, then I'm open to those conversations too, because I think keeping it fresh is also important. And part of why we're all on this board is we're challenged to learn new things. And I think the more completely we can learn and take on those challenges, the better we understand the workings of how village business gets done. So that's another thing, and we don't get stale. So all of those things would be considered as we rethink our way through the committee creation and the committee chair assignments. So to be continued, but I just want to put that in front of you tonight, and we'll have more discussion on that going forward. Okay, questions about that? Comments or concerns? Okay, very good. Well, with that said, there is no old business tonight. There are no ordinances. There are no resolutions. There is no new business tonight. This is the second and last opportunity for the public to address the village board on non-agenda items, and there is no one here to do that. There is no need for closed session, right? I understand. There is no other tonight, so as Kevin said, we'll close with my favorite agenda item is adjournment. So could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
So
I'll move by trustee Perkins. Do I have a second? Second by trustee Van Ryn. And I think we just need a voice vote. So all in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Good.
We are. Peggy, did you say nay? What?
I said I was yawning, sorry.
We are